Hi, my name is Don Brown. Jacob, we were tasked to debate against structuralism versus functionalism. So here's my attempt to get after functionalism. So when we start talking about the two, structuralism and functionalism, right? There were two the founding of the merge early scientists begin to where they considered psychology as an independent right subject, right, that is completely separate from philosophy and biology concepts, right. It all came about from William Wood, right, who kind of created the first psychology laboratory and pioneered structuralism in his attempt to explain the human mind. So, but however, he wasn't the one that actually started the concept, right? It was actually one of his students, Edward B. Titchener, right? Titchener kind of spread it across the United States, and Wood kind of inherited it and kind of changed it to his kind of liking, right? So as the two functionals followed, right, it started in America, right. It was pioneered by psychology and psychologists, right, also known by William James. James taught the concept, right, had a strong influence on the theory of evolution, right, by Charles Darwin, right. Structuralism kind of focused on the mental process, right, and the basic element, right, as a method to understand these elements is introspection, right. Functionalism opposes structuralism and instead seeks to understand how the mind functions in a kind of a systematic way. I'm kind of going to aim to analyze what's how functionalism is kind of better, right, and is a school based on the strength. It's kind of basis on the strength of structuralism, right, and more independently, right. So there's a clear understanding of the differences between the two, right. From Darwin, right, he kind of gives an example that provides, right, example of a map, right, the evolution of territories, right. For a proponent of structuralism, it's a level of accuracy, right, achieved when position on a map, right, on the territory provided more information about the territory, right. Functionalism, on the other hand, it tries to seek a little more answers from the map, right. It treats the map as a territory, as a separate from the analysis, right, purposes, right, and more of a correlation and causal relationship can be more established, right. The outright downside of I believe of structuralism is the subject nature of introspection, right. It in its examination of mind element, the experiments have been a approach that is provides unreliable results, right. The main concern of structuralism is internal behavior, right, which vary to be not accurate, right, measure accurately, and it's impossible to observe directly, right. A lot of critics have also stated that structuralism, right, especially as it's taught as it was taught by Tishner, who argued that introspection was limited in the sense that it does not focus on animal, clinical, and child psychology, right. Introspection is also criticized to kind of focus on memories, right, which is sometimes can be distorted, right, as time go on. It does not focus on the immediate experiences, right, and then also introspection is conscious critics, they also believe that it interferes with the process of consciousness, right, which attempts to observe, right. So functionalism, right? I believe deserves more credit because it's laying the firm foundation for psychology, right? It emerged at a time when Tishner was spreading psychology concepts from Germany, right, as he taught by his teacher, right? Right, so functionalism, in my point of view, we're able to grow into behaviorism, right? That it's applied in psychology. Since functionalism is not limited as structuralism, right? It leads to exploration in the area of a child, animal, and psychology, right? These areas grow in significant ways, right? And today, my knowledge, we're able to apply them within and beyond the scope of psychology, right? Functional kind of also approach issues of heroic and irrational, right? It exposes areas that have been neglected and led to discovery of other things, right? In some Pacific research experiments, right, experimental process, psychologists are able to conceptualize its challenges, traditions, and confronts ideas of interperspection interaction. I'm sorry, right? That also generates new hypotheses, right? Contributing to significant advances, right, and various field of knowledge, right? So, for me, functionalism examines the relationship between emotion, right, and it's an individual attempt to accomplish effectively, right. It interlinks a person and a relative environment event, right. That that's perfect explanation can be established. I think functionalism also provides a vital contribution to the foundation of modern concepts, right? As a cognitive psychology, right? Perceptual binding and working of memory, right? Most of the cognitive psychology theories, right, can be based on psychofunctionalism, right? Also resolves around the interaction of mental process, right, and also the behavioral impact, right? So a lot of studies, substantial achievement in the field of psychotherapy and attributes to the function psychology, right? Supporters of functionalism use a variety of inclusive treatment methods, right? That is still applicable today, right? So hopefully this kind of gives you my take on functionalism, and hopefully we're able to gather and capture my thoughts on the topic. Once again, this is Don Brown.